entire universe has brought it about. If you wanted to investigate the cause of the form of this moment, you have to travel back a billion years. One thing leading to another, and another, and another, and another, and another, and another, and finally the form of this moment is this room with all the people in it. Or a crowded bus. The entire universe has conspired to bring about the moment of this crowded bus in which you are sitting and hating it. Which also that has been brought about by the universe. And the sudden awakening is also brought about. I can actually be here in this crowded bus in a state of non-resistance, because it just is as it is. And if I don't give the judgments, impose judgments on it, it's actually not that bad at all. It just is. And so when you become open to the is, the form of this moment is no longer a limitation. It's almost as if a door were suddenly, before it was a big door closed, suddenly a door opens. And this door is really within, one could say. An inner door opens, and suddenly you sense a background peace. In the foreground, whatever is happening is happening. Externally or even internally, an emotion. That's the foreground too. The peace is deeper. Here's the emotion, and here say, okay, that's the fear. It is. Can't argue that there's this. You don't even have to call it anything, you just feel it. There it is. I can feel it. Yeah. There's nobody that says, go away, I don't want to feel this. Yeah, but it is. You can't argue with is. It is. Okay, but how long am I going to? It is. Just say, this is. I don't want to be feeling this for the rest of my life. We're not talking about the rest of your life, just this moment. It is. Okay. Okay. And even there, suddenly you can feel under here peace, aliveness, peace. And stay still, the turbulent movement, inner, outer. It's accepted, the form of this moment is accepted, and it becomes an opening. In the unconscious state, the form of this moment is rejected, and it therefore becomes the obstacle, that which blocks you from finding access to the deeper dimension, who you are in essence, the formless essence of who you are. No form. The peace is a space. And we're using a word which is a form to describe, of course, the formless. So when I say it is space, that's not quite right either, because we've already transformed it into some form by giving it a name. But as you know, we're just using language as pointers. As in the Tao Te Ching at the beginning, the Lao Tse says the Tao that can be spoken of is not the true Tao, because the Tao has no form. And by talking about the Tao, you give it a form, as if it were something that has form, but it doesn't. So as long as we know this is just language and just pointers, then we don't go astray. So here we have, by simply coming to an opening to this, you make the present moment, let's put it in the most simple terms, as I sometimes do, which could be understood by a 5-year-old child. The present moment can be your friend or your enemy. For most people, the present moment is an enemy. But if the present moment becomes your friend, No matter what form it takes, you have an unconditional acceptance of this friend. Because if it's your friend, you accept it is. Good. And then the very condition that was a blockage becomes an opening into that which really we can no longer talk about in words, but just a few little. It is a spaciousness underneath it all. And then you have the condition and you have the space. Not that you have it, you are it. You are the space for whatever condition is going on. And what is another name for that space? The now. That's the essence of now, the depth of now. You are the now, in which everything happens. You are that, and that now is timeless. No past, no future. And that is finding yourself. But it has nothing to do with the I that the little me utters. Some people may still call it a deeper I am, because it's beingness itself. These are all attempts to create pointers. There's no more than that. The essence here is the form which looks like a limitation can become an opening into the formless. If the form is particularly unpleasant, let's say your body is incapacitated, you can't move your limbs anymore. If the form is extremely limiting, this is just one example, or you're in prison, if you then bring an acceptance to that, it is as it is, it can very quickly get you very deep. Very deep. In that sense, we can say the worst thing that happens to you in life, and some people carry throughout their lives some dreadful burden. It could be physical, whatever it is. The worst thing that happens, and you have to look at it always in the now, bring an acceptance to it, a total acceptance of the isness, then the worst thing in your life becomes the best thing that ever could have happened to you, because it then becomes the doorway. And that also you have access to this is the dimension we could call the sacred dimension. The only thing that's sacred is not a thing. And sacred, of course, in our civilization has become meaningless. It's just an abstract concept. Nobody knows what anybody's talking about. When in fact, very few people actually use the word sacred anymore. The sacred realm is the realm of the formless, of space. There's no sacredness in form, and yet the strange thing is, when you have access to that, and again language separates it, in essence you are that, formless, then you can sense that dimension shining through every other being. And so when you then meet another human being or an animal or a tree, somehow you feel this essence that you know as yourself, that is completely formless, shines through the form of that other form. And you sense it through your own, so to speak. And so, although I said the sacredness is not in the form, the sacred shines through the form. It is the formless that shines through each form. And you can only sense that when you found it in yourself. And then you love everything, every being, as yourself in essence. And that's the true, deepest meaning of love, which has no wanting in it whatsoever. It is simply a recognition of the other as not really other. It's a recognition of the other as yourself in essence. And that's the recognition, of course, of oneness, which is the liberation from form. After that, you can play with form, still move in the world of form, without being imprisoned by the world of form. And so that dimension is true happiness, although I don't like that word because it's too superficial to describe that. But we had to get you here, so... Because the little me says, I want happiness, and you get something much better. I also would say the cross, the Christian symbol, Jesus on the cross, contains that truth, not in words, to reach people beyond words. Because Jesus stands for, the Christ stands for, is the archetype for every human being. The cross is a torture instrument. It is a torture when you're identified with form, you're attached to form. And that is torture. That's suffering. When you surrender to form, the form that appears now, complete acceptance, then the torture instrument form becomes the opening. So there you have the dual symbolism of the cross. Because why is the cross in Christianity a symbol of the sacred when it's a torture instrument? How can they use a torture instrument and then it becomes a symbol of the sacred at the same time? Because they are one. What looked like torture and what is the sacred have merged into one through acceptance. You've gone beyond the limitations of form and beyond attachment to form. Then the very form is the opening. We are acknowledging both dimensions, words, stillness, form, formless. There it is also. In the world of form, where we seem to have these bodies, they want to move. So let's move the bodies and take a little break. And when we meet again here, it will be now. On the level of form, 30 minutes will have passed. Thank you.